Well, there were rumors he was going to go to the NFL, and Notre Dame put a stop to that. They got an extension in front of Marcus Freeman, who's the Notre Dame football coach. They beat Indiana to start the first ever 12-team playoff, and he is joining us. It's Christmas Eve. He's in the office. You know he's in the office getting ready to play Georgia. So first of all, the first thing why I like the playoff, because years ago you guys lost early in the season in Northern Illinois at home, and you'd have been done. It's like, okay, you're not playing for the Natty. This allows a mulligan. Heck, I could argue Alabama had 2 mulligans, Vandy, Oklahoma, and they still almost made it in. So when you lost to Northern Illinois, you had to really sell your team on, we're a good team. It's okay. It happens. Let's go back to that loss. What did you say that week of practice? Because you've played different, you've been more aggressive, you've gotten better each week. How did you sell your team after a devastating home loss?
Well, I think immediately after the game, you tell them, I've been here before, right? I told them, listen, it's going to be a rough week. It's going to be a long week, but I've been here before. And I think it took me a day or two to figure out, okay, what was my messaging going to be? And what I told them on Monday in our meeting was there's schematic things we have to enhance and have to fix. But to me, the greater lesson to learn was we had to learn as a program. I had to learn as a head coach, how do we handle success? This was the first year in my 3 years as head coach that we won that big game early. The first 2 years we lost to Ohio State early in the season. And I said, we have to learn how to handle success as a program. And we got to do those things that it takes to prepare mentally and physically for our opponent, no matter who it is. And all season long, I've continued to tell them, keep the pain, because we can't let a loss continue to teach us the lessons that we need to learn to prepare. So they've done a wonderful job of continuing to find ways to get better, but the preparation has been the key in the mindset.
Okay, so you're playing Georgia. Both J-Mac and I said yesterday, I kind of like Notre Dame in this game, but you're facing Gunnar Stockton, and you have almost no footage on him. He's the backup quarterback, so I don't think he's the thrower that Beck is, but he may be just as good a runner. What do you do when you don't know much about the quarterback?
Well, I think you look at the 13 games they've played. They're not going to be a completely different offense with a new quarterback. You evaluate, there's about 83 plays of him that we have in a cut up from the second half of the SEC championship and some other time during the season. And so there's some things he does really, really well within their system. He makes really good decisions. He makes fast decisions. He obviously can extend plays with his feet, a little bit more QB run. And but we're still going to plan to see the things that we've seen their offense do, no matter who's been at quarterback.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I have been advocating, I believe Riley Leonard is going to end up being a 3rd or a 4th round pick, and he will be a starter in the NFL. I've said there's a little bit of Josh Allen here, and a little Drake May, where he's not quite polished yet, but he went to Duke and Notre Dame. He's smart. He's 6'5". You just told me off the air he's got a relentless work ethic. And I look at him, and you ask a lot more of him than Duke did. So tell me about Riley Leonard that I don't see. I can see the athletic ability. You told me the work ethic. What separates him? What makes him special?
Well, I think he's an ultra-competitive individual. Now, you would talk to him, and he's going to be the nicest person in the world. But when he steps into the weight room, he steps into the meeting room, he steps on the practice field, he is a competitive individual. And I think the greatest thing for him was to learn in the first 2 weeks of the seasons, the highest of highs, being a quarterback at Notre Dame, to the lowest of lows.
Yeah.
And, you can't worry about throwing an interception. You can't worry about what anybody's going to say. You got to go out there with confidence and be the player that we know you could be. And so you've seen him grow in confidence, but also grow in the preparation in terms of learning exactly what is demanded of him. And you've seen our coaching staff ask him to do things that he does really, really well. But he is a relentless competitor. He has a tremendous work ethic, and he'll continue to ascend as he goes throughout his football career.
So, listen, I like the 12-team playoff. I thought there were going to be closer games, but, what do I know? First round was ugly. I would take that over the Pop-Tart Bowl, so I'm for this thing. Now, you guys, Marcus, because you don't have an official conference affiliation, you don't get a first-round bye. That'll never happen. Now, I think stuff can be negotiated. Your take on even if you went 12-0, you wouldn't get a bye. Did that first game actually with Indiana, did you like it? Because you have a young team. Is it an advantage or a disadvantage?
Well, I have to look at it as an advantage, right? And not look at anything that happens to us as a disadvantage. To play a first-round playoff game at home was an experience like no other. And to have our guys understand, okay, here's what the playoffs are all about, because it's a first for everybody in terms of having 4 games or 3 games if you had a bye. And so it was, to me, a great advantage to go and prepare and to have that first game. And now you got to reset and get ready for your next opponent. Again, this is something I've never really had to deal with, because in the season, you got the next game. In a bowl game, you're preparing, that's the last one. And this is unique where you don't know if this is going to be your last game or not. And the minute we won that game, you had to reset your mind and say, okay, we got to get ready for this next opponent, which is going to be a tall task.
Okay, so Riley Mills is out for this game. Is that right? Riley Mills, the linebacker. Yeah, he's a heck of a player. That's not great. Yeah. How do you compensate for that?
Well, I think all season long, which I'm sure every team deals with, you deal with injuries. And we've lost some guys to season-ending injuries, some really important people, and you feel horribly for them as an individual. Riley's a guy that decided to come back to try to improve his draft stock, and he's a captain. But you got to – you know what? The next man has to get the next opportunity, and he's got to go do it. And I've always said this: you've earned the trust and the opportunity way before you get thrust out there in front of the national TV. You earn that opportunity in practice and the trust from your coaches, and the guys we'll put out there have earned that trust and will do a great job. But you're not going to replace Riley Mills with one person. It's multiple people that have to make up for some of the production that he's had. But we'll have some guys ready to roll.
Well, you've done a remarkable job, and I know college coaching with all the transfer portal and NIL stuff. I got 3 minutes left. I actually think you have an advantage in the transfer portal, because I think kids that go to Notre Dame are special, and they just don't go for a handout. Do you view it that way?
We always say that the guys that choose Notre Dame choose hard, and there's some requirements that you have on you here that you might not have everywhere else in the country. But they've chosen this place, and they understand the value of obviously the football program, but the education and what this university can do for you in the longevity of your life. And so it's a special place, special culture, special people. We haven't had a guy since the portal was open in December enter the portal, and we'll see what happens after the season. But to me, it speaks volumes about the young people that are committed to this program.
Well, when Notre Dame is rolling, college football is better. You're crushing it. Don't go to the NFL. Stay in college. You know what? Your winters are a little rough. They'd be rough in Chicago or New York. Just stay at Notre Dame. All right, Marcus?
Absolutely, man. I appreciate the advice, Colin.
All right. Hi, everybody. It's me, Uncle Colin. Subscribe here to get the latest from the herd, including exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and more, wherever you may be, however you may be watching. Thanks again for making us part of your day.